Welcome to my channel, Uncovering the Past. Today, we're diving into a story that might sound deeply familiar to you, even if you've never put it into words. It's about those mysterious moments in life when God begins to shift things around us, when relationships suddenly feel heavy, when people we thought would stay forever begin to drift away, and when doors close even though we desperately want them to stay open. The question is, what if it's not just life, but God Himself trying to remove someone from your life? Think about it. Have you ever had a person in your life who once felt like a blessing but over time became a constant weight on your spirit? Someone who drained your energy, clouded your peace, or pulled you further from your purpose? Maybe it was a friend, maybe it was someone you dated, or maybe it was even someone close to your family circle. At first, you couldn't understand why the bond felt different, why the laughter wasn't the same, and why the conversations started turning into arguments. But here's the thing. Sometimes God sends signs, subtle yet powerful, to show us that someone's season in our life is ending. I want you to picture a young man named Daniel. For years, he had a best friend, someone he trusted with his secrets, his dreams, even his fears. They grew up together, walked through life's struggles side by side, and promised to always stick together no matter what. But slowly, things began to change. The friend who once encouraged Daniel now mocked his ambitions. The friend who once supported his faith now questioned it, planting doubts in his heart. The bond started feeling like chains instead of strength. Daniel couldn't understand why his prayers for peace felt unanswered, until one day he began to notice something. Everything around that friendship brought confusion, but every time he pulled away, he felt a strange sense of relief. This is where the mystery deepens. Could it be that God was already speaking, showing Daniel the signs? Could it be that God was gently trying to remove someone from his life so Daniel could step into the purpose waiting ahead? What's fascinating is that these signs are often not loud or obvious. They can come through small disruptions, inner convictions, or situations that force us to question the relationship. And the truth is, most of us miss them because we're holding on too tightly. We fear the pain of letting go. But what we don't realize is that sometimes God allows the pain to protect us from a greater loss. In this story, Daniel finds himself torn between loyalty and destiny, between the comfort of the past and the unknown of the future. He begins to see three clear signs, but the more he notices them, the more restless his spirit becomes. And that's where the tension lies. Should he let go of the one person who's been by his side for years? Or should he trust that God is guiding him to something better? As we go deeper into this journey, we'll uncover the three powerful signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life. Each one might shock you because they're not always what you expect. And by the end, you'll be able to look at your own life with new eyes, asking yourself, is there someone God is already asking me to release? Stay with me because what Daniel discovers next might change the way you see relationships forever. Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that something was shifting beneath the surface of his life. Every time he tried to brush it off, a quiet unease settled in his chest, like a whisper he couldn't ignore. The friend he once considered inseparable now seemed distant in ways he couldn't explain. Conversations felt forced, laughter hollow, and even the moments they shared in silence carried a strange tension. Daniel began noticing patterns. Little moments where his friend's words cut deeper than intended, or where subtle actions caused friction that never existed before. It was as if the universe itself, or maybe God, was nudging him to pay attention. At the same time, Daniel's heart ached with confusion. He remembered the bond they had built over years, the promises they made, and the trust that had been the foundation of their friendship. But he also felt the pull of something greater, something calling him to a life unburdened by negativity, a life aligned with his purpose. It wasn't just the friendship that was changing. Daniel noticed how other areas of his life were starting to shift too. Opportunities he had longed for seemed to arrive at unexpected moments, and doors he didn't even know existed began opening. But with these new possibilities came fear, because moving forward might mean letting go of the familiar, even if that familiarity had become harmful. Meanwhile, those around Daniel began to notice the strain too. Family members whispered their concerns, co-workers hinted at changes in his demeanor, and even casual acquaintances sensed the tension when they were near him. Each perspective added another layer of pressure, a reminder that the decision he faced was not just internal. It rippled outward, affecting those around him. Daniel started questioning everything. Were these signs from God, or just coincidences? Was he imagining the shift, or was it real? And most importantly, could he find the courage to trust in something he couldn't fully see yet? With each passing day, the tension grew. The once simple friendship now felt like a test of faith, patience, and discernment. Daniel's heart was caught between holding on and letting go, and the answers seemed just out of reach. Daniel's days became a delicate balance between hope and dread. Every message from his friend, every unexpected encounter, carried a weight he couldn't ignore. Some moments felt ordinary, almost like the friendship was still intact, but then small cracks appeared. Missed calls, curt responses, subtle criticisms that left Daniel questioning everything. He found himself replaying conversations in his mind, searching for hidden meanings, for signs that God was trying to speak to him through the chaos. Each realization hit harder than the last, making his heart pound with anxiety he couldn't easily shake. Even his own thoughts seemed to betray him. Late at night, Daniel would sit alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he was misreading the situation. Maybe it was just a rough patch, a misunderstanding that could be mended with time. But then, the unease would return, stronger, almost tangible, as if the universe itself was pressing him to see the truth. Every instinct, every subtle nudge in his spirit, told him that something was changing, something beyond his control, but he couldn't tell exactly what it meant or what would happen next. Meanwhile, the ripple effect of this tension began affecting everyone around him. Family members who had once offered simple advice now spoke with urgency, hinting at patterns they had noticed long before Daniel could put them into words. Colleagues commented on the shift in his energy, noticing a quiet distraction that seemed to follow him everywhere. And all the while, his friend remained a puzzle, sometimes warm and familiar, other times distant and cold, a mirror reflecting Daniel's own internal struggle. The air seemed heavier with every passing day. Daniel could feel a breaking point approaching, a moment where he would have to make a choice, but the signs weren't clear enough to provide comfort. Each interaction felt like a test, each silence a warning, and every step forward seemed to bring him closer to an inevitable confrontation he wasn't ready for. The tension had reached its peak, and Daniel knew that very soon, everything would come to a moment of reckoning, an intense turning point where faith, courage, and clarity would collide, but the outcome remained shrouded in uncertainty. Just as Daniel felt he was approaching some fragile sense of understanding, an unexpected event threw everything into chaos. One evening, while scrolling through social media, he noticed a post from his friend, a post that seemed innocent at first but carried an undertone Daniel couldn't ignore. It was a picture of them together, shared with a caption that hinted at distance and hidden frustrations. The tone was cryptic, almost like a message meant for someone else, yet pointed directly at him. Daniel's heart sank, and a cold wave of doubt swept over him. Suddenly, what he had thought were subtle signs from God now collided with the possibility that his friend had a secret he didn't know about, a hidden side that could change everything. Conflicted, Daniel began observing more closely. He noticed small inconsistencies, stories that didn't line up, excuses that felt rehearsed, and moments where his friend's attention seemed deliberately elsewhere. The trust that had once been solid was now riddled with cracks, and each new observation magnified the unease in Daniel's spirit. But it wasn't just about betrayal or deceit. It was about timing and destiny. Daniel began to wonder if God was orchestrating this confusion as part of a bigger plan. Perhaps the friend's behavior, as unsettling as it was a catalyst designed to push him toward clarity, to prepare him for something he couldn't yet see. Meanwhile, the emotional weight of the situation began affecting Daniel in ways he hadn't anticipated. He found himself second-guessing every decision, replaying interactions over and over, questioning whether he was holding on too tightly or letting go too soon. Even the people around him started noticing the strain. Friends who once offered casual support now asked pointed questions about his relationship, hinting at truths Daniel wasn't ready to face. His family's concern became more urgent, their advice tinged with caution, as though they sensed the storm approaching faster than Daniel could admit.